A couple of days ago in the Australia Cup final, Melbourne Victory head coach Patrick Kisnorbo made the shocking decision to leave Daniel Arzani out of the squad entirely for the game. It was a move that stunned everyone. This is a guy who's recently featured with the Socceroos, and he was featuring for Melbourne Victory through this Australia Cup run, completely left out of the final. There wasn't any injury associated with the omission as well, and some new information has dropped. This is coming from Nicholas Lennon on X. Nicholas has been awesome. He's been sharing a lot of great stuff and some exclusive scoops in regards to player signings, player news across the A-Leagues and regarding all Australian players, really. More often than not, Nicholas's posts are correct. So here's the new information that we have from Nicholas's post from yesterday afternoon. He says, Daniel Arzani was dropped after a massive bust-up with Patrick Kisnorbo at training last week. This has insinuated from Arzani being offered to other clubs during the off-season. The club wanted Arzani to play, but Kisnorbo insisted on dropping the Socceroo. Nicholas goes on to mention that it is said that Arzani lost control in front of the entire team during training, and that he had been frustrated during pre-season due to being offered elsewhere. This is a stunning piece of news. And obviously, look, we don't know the full truth. We don't know if this is entirely true. As mentioned, what Nicholas has posted in the past, most of it has turned out to be correct. But who knows? There could be more to this story. Obviously, this is really dramatic. Talk of a bust up at training. Nicholas uses the words that Arzani lost control. This is quite fascinating, and it sort of goes to a deeper issue at Melbourne Victory. And I'm not going to say, who's in the wrong here or whatever. We're just sort of talking about the facts and discussing what's going on here at Melbourne Victory. Let's go back and read what Patrick Kisnorbo said in that pre-game interview before the Australia Cup final when he was questioned about leaving Arzani out of the squad. He said that it was just a selection thing that I thought was relevant for tonight. Also, we need to get used to it because he's suspended for the first game of the season. It's just one of those sort of selection processes that we decided for tonight to go through. Again, we talked about that a little bit in our Australia Cup final review video that we put out yesterday. It was a bit of a bizarre comment from Patrick Kisnorbo. If you're just missing one game at the start of the season, why do you have to leave him out for this crucial game here? Especially fascinating considering that Arzani has featured for Melbourne Victory in every game of the Australia Cup run leading up to the final as well. I did want to pull up this post from Nicholas Lennon. Now, this is coming from the 10th of August, almost 2 months ago. Nicholas Lennon posted that Melbourne Victory have approached 3 unnamed A-League clubs offering Bruno Fornaroli or Ben Falami for a defensive midfielder. Apparently, Victory tried to sign Paolo Retre, but weren't successful. So another fascinating scoop. That was from a couple months ago. And again, we don't know if this is 100% true, but obviously we do know Ben Falami did move on from Melbourne Victory. He's now at Adelaide United. That was a late signing in the transfer window a couple weeks ago. And Bruno Fornaroli, I mean, he's been on the bench since Nikos Virgos has arrived, this new Greek striker who's already settling into Melbourne Victory really well. He's already got a few goals in this Australia Cup run, but he's relegated Bruno Fornaroli, one of the top A-League strikers in the past several years, to the bench. This is a guy, Fornaroli, who scored 18 goals in the A-League last season, and he sat on the bench. All these little things sort of, you piece them together, and Patrick Kisnorbo is really sort of shaking things up at Melbourne Victory. And look, if this is what he wants to do, he's making the decisions that he thinks are right for the club, for the team going forward, and I appreciate that, and you got to admire him for backing himself, for making these big calls and dropping players who, are maybe expected to be starters, who would probably start in any other A-League team, but he's putting the team first ahead of the players. That is what Patrick Kisnorbo is doing in this situation. It is interesting though in regards to Arzani. It's a real surprise because there wasn't really any indication from just looking at the team lineups through the Australia Cup that he was going, that he was being pushed out of the club. He was involved, as mentioned, in their Australia Cup games throughout this run. And it's quite fascinating that Patrick Kisnorbo is sort of executing this shake-up at Melbourne Victory now, considering that they're a team who are already in a pretty decent position heading into this season. They lost a couple key players, but overall, the spine of the squad is there. They made it to the grand final last year. They finished third. They didn't lose many games last season. It didn't really have to do much of a shake-up. Obviously, we look at the sides who finished towards the bottom of the ladder last year, the likes of Newcastle Jets, Perth Glory. They've had big shake-ups. They've let a lot of players go. They've brought in new players. Patrick Kisnorbo coming in and despite having good players there, the likes of Fornaroli, Arzani, Falami, not saying that he wants all these guys out, but those are the guys who we've just highlighted in this video from Nicholas Lennon's posts. He's not really looking at sort of their past maybe success in the A-League, but their past success at Melbourne Victory and wanting to go in a different direction. And again, you got to respect him for that. That's what he's doing as head coach. It is a fascinating sort of story that's playing out at Melbourne Victory, and would love to hear, from Melbourne Victory fans. And how do you feel about this? We're still a couple of weeks away from the kickoff of the A-League season, and this is already a huge story. And I'm, really fascinated. I think we're all now fascinated to see how Melbourne Victory go this season. I think there is pressure building on Patrick Kisnorbo. I mean, already the appointment was a controversial one. A former Melbourne City player and coach had won trophies with Melbourne City, now at Melbourne Victory. It maybe wasn't received the best by the Melbourne Victory faithful. They've had a fantastic Australia Cup run. Patrick Kisnorbo has got them playing great football, which is good to see. But all this news of sort of, these key players sort of being, potentially let go of the club, maybe we don't know if it is Patrick Kisnorbo who's behind, getting all these players out, but it really is interesting what's happening at the moment. In regards to the current situation and Daniel Arzani, hopefully it does get sorted out. We do hear it, at football clubs all around the world, that there is sometimes, complications at trainings. Hopefully it can get sorted out. The player and the coach and everyone involved can, move forward in the right direction, because Arzani's a top player. When he's in form, he's fantastic. He'll be eager to, link up with his former head coach, Tony Popovic, in the Socceroo setup once again for the upcoming season. So I think all eyes will be on Melbourne Victory for the first couple of weeks to see how much involvement Daniel Arzani has. Is this apparent incident enough to sort of shift him out of the squad until like the January transfer window? We'll have to wait and see. But Patrick Kisnorbo really shaking things up apparently at Melbourne Victory. What do you guys make of this one? It's a big story. Daniel Arzani, a Melbourne Victory. What role does he have to play at the club? Are we reading into the situation a little bit too much? Is there more truth to the situation? We'll certainly keep an eye on it in the coming days. What do you guys make of this situation? We'd love to get your thoughts in the comment section. Join the discussion and stay subscribed to Coastwood Football for more A-League talk right here on the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. My name's Lockie. This is Coastwood Football, and I'll see you in the next one.